What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to the Warframe video. Today, we're showing the best way to farm Necramech rep and Necramech mods in 2022. We've got a go-to strategy that I've been using a lot now, and it's actually the best I've found to kill these Necramechs since Octavia Mallet got nerfed like over a year ago. Additionally, did you know that Nekros loot abilities work on Necramechs to give you more loot? Well, they do, and it's actually one of the only ones in the game that does work. So that's why Nekros is the meta for this. Before we get into this farming guide kind of situation, make sure you're subbed and all that, and make sure you check the live stream channel as well. We'll be live later tonight. And then I fixed the issues that were occurring recently to give me some frame drops, so we should be all fixed there, okay? So you can basically view today as a Necramech, enemy Necramech destroying guide for the channel. So what we're going to be using here is we're trying to make the Necramechs in the Isolation Vault bounties on Deimos just complete jokes. And what we're utilizing here is we're pretty much just stopping time for them. We're using 3 different slows, and these Necramechs are affected by a good amount of abilities. Certain ones that we're using, such as Helminth version of Gloom, Creeping Terrify Augment mod for Nekros, and the Zenurik Temporal Blast node from Focus, all will stack together to make the Necramech. It's still going to have a wonky hitbox on its arms, to be honest, but it can't even fight back, really. It kind of is just standing there waiting for you to Stropha it down. So the reason this could potentially be useful is that these guys drop, like I said, they drop rep. So they drop these things called Animus Matrices, plural, and you go and turn those in to the Necrolist. So we're actually on, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about right now. So we are on the Necrolist city on Deimos planet right now, and to get Necramech stuff, there's a secret door over here, but you can actually fast travel to the Lloyd NPC, and you trade in Aurican Matrices for Necramech standing, and I've already done it today, so I have 0 remaining, but you can just turn these in, and you can stack them up. You can buy stuff from here, like, there's parts for the Necramech Void Rig and all that, and the Bone Widow, and there's also, like, mods and all that, and things of that nature. So that's what you're going to be doing in this. Also, these Necramechs do drop Necramech mods. The different drop locations for each of those mods can change depending on which tier of Isolation Vault you are doing. So, for example, the one you're looking at on the screen right now is the Tier 3 Isolation Vault. Tier 3 also means it spawns 3 enemy Necramechs in there. So for the most bang for your buck time-wise and rep for time-wise, do the Tier 3 Isolation Vault. It might be the hardest, but if you're utilizing the things we use in this video, it will still be pretty easy, because we're doing this all with no ribbons. We are technically using Helminth, but you can get away with not using Helminth for this too. Just using Zenurik Temporal Blast and Creeping Terrify, which we will show the builds for. So what I'm talking about is, so the Tier 3 Isolation Vault, you go here, and there's actually quite a few different types of bounties, or at least there used to be. So down here, Isolation Vault Tier 1. This will have 1 Necramech in there, and I believe that Necramech in the Tier 1 Isolation Vault has a special mod drop associated with it. The Tier 2 one is also the similar situation, where there's 2 Necramechs instead of 1, and they also have their own mod drops. And then the Tier 3 Isolation Vault will have its own mod drops and 3 Necramechs. They will all drop the rep stuff, 100% drop chance, and then you'll get doubled up. If you have Nekros Desecrate active, it will give you that will drop twice, so you will get double loot with Nekros. And I think the Chesa Kubrau also works, but Chesa Kubrau does not stack with Nekros, so there's no real reason to run Chesa Kubrau and Nekros together, unless you forget to turn on Desecrate or something like that. So we're going to show you the builds I utilize here. So the thing about these Isolation Vaults is that the first 2 steps are just basically waiting out timers. The first one's like a singular mobile defense target where it's like, hey, wait 3 minutes and you can go into the you can go underground. And the second part is wait out the timer and kill the marked targets, and then you can go deeper underground. So the first 2 you can't really speed up. So that's why bring an AoE DPS like Equinox or whatever and killing everything as fast as possible is not going to change anything. You need to wait on the timer no matter what. That's why Nekros is still meta. Additionally, Nekros, like I said, he's the only one that works with a double loot. That's why I consider it meta, because you're just basically, he's a time wizard in this situation. He's not only stopping time for the Necramechs, he's giving you double loot, making it so you play basically 2 missions at once. So let's show what builds we utilize in this strategy guide and things that you could potentially change. So, like I said, we got Nekros. He is the only choice. If you want to bring other frames, be my guest. But As far as modding, we're only really focusing on survivability, but lazy survivability, because I don't want to be using Rolling Guard constantly against these Infested. So we've got Umbral Intensive, full Umbra, honestly. That gives us enough strength to have a 61% slow on our Gloom, which is taken from the Sevagoth frame and put it onto the first ability on Nekros. So 61% slow there, also gives us lifesteal. Now this is like the only thing you're going to really using your energy on besides Terrify, which is Nekros' second ability, giving a armor reduction, and with the Creeping Terrify augment mod, it's got a base 60% movement speed slow. It does get increased by strength, capping out at 80%, so with this much strength, it's enough to get to 80% easily. So yeah, you want to basically have both of these active to make that Necramech a slug. And then Desecrate, very, very important to give you that double loot. It's a guarantee to work on the Necramech. Just make sure it's active when while it's dead. Even if the corpse of the Necramech is on the ground, you can cast it again while it's dead on the ground. And the 4 Shadows of the Dead, you basically just cast this for fun. It doesn't really do much. It looks cool, but yeah, not really the crux of this build, to be honest. And as far as the mod choices, like I said, mostly lazy survivability with adaptation, triple Umbra. We've got to spoil, so we don't need to use energy for our Desecrate. We're a little bit energy hungry with Gloom, draining per second, but you get extra loot from Desecrate anyway, so you'll be getting energy orbs. You technically could go for Equilibrium and all that, but you're not killing enough enemies that health orbs are just raining down from above. So I decided to go with Prime Flow, and we haven't had too many energy issues with this setup. Prime Continuity to make the duration of Terrify a little bit longer. It doesn't really matter, to be honest. This could be switched for something else if you want to be fair. We've got Steel Charge because our main DPS source is the Stropha, a melee weapon, so it's fine. It also gives us more mod capacity, so I don't need to use an Umbra Forma on this build. And of course, you could do something different. The main crux of it is Gloom and Creeping Terrify, to be honest. Prime Sure-Footed, not get knocked over. Prime Fury gives you increased melee damage on crit, which you'll be critting every single attack with the Stropha, so that's just a free 180% melee damage. And Arcane Guardian because it's a throwback. I just felt like using it. So, yeah, you could probably switch that for something else as well. All right, moving on to the main DPS source. We can show all the weapons and all that. But we have the Stropha here. There is no Tenant Stropha. So, I don't mean to bait you. It's just I find it kind of funny. So this is the No Riven build that was used in the footage. So we are modding for radiation damage, as these Necramechs are weak to radiation damage, not corrosive, which I thought the other day they were weak to corrosive. Apparently not. So yeah, basically it's a pretty standard 2x heavy attack build. You can make other builds work, like a 12x light attack build is suggested to me. I'm sure a 12x heavy build would work too. But yeah, just 2x, corrupt charge, easy mode. Now this is an Umbra Forma build. But the reason this is an Umbra Forma build is because I actually have a Riven for the Stropha usually. If you don't use a Riven, you can get away with this build with no Umbra Forma, so don't worry about that. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward there. Now, the annoying thing about this is that the Necramechs have a really weird hitbox, and that has not changed. I thought yesterday maybe Silence from Banshee would make the hitbox less terrible. No, Silence from Banshee just makes them not cast abilities, unfortunately. So we're going to go with majorly slowing them over turning off their abilities, because they're going to be moving so slow they won't cast abilities anyway, so whatever. Yeah, so moving on past that, we have the Companion. Now, since these Necramech are dropping these rep stones that are a guaranteed drop, if you have a Smeeta Kavat, I'd say bring it, because if you get Charm to proc, it will double up the loot these Necramechs drop, which, you can get crazy amounts of rep from one kill, so pretty good. Additionally, the other stuff we got here, nothing too crazy. Tech Enhance for longer duration on Charm. Tech Assault to get a 60% chance to not die when it goes to 0 health. And then Fetch for loot radar, or loot vacuum, and then, pretty standard stuff for a cat. You can honestly just change these mods around wherever you're in the mood for. Do you want to look at Link Shields today? Do you want to look at Link Armor today? Maybe Metal Fiber could be kind of funny. Just, who even cares, really? The cat will stay alive most of the time. And then we've got the final piece of this loadout is going to be Zenurik. Focus School. It's technically not needed because the enemy is already going to be like a complete slug, but another 80% slow on top of the other 80 and the other 60 we have too. So 60, 80, 80, and they're slowed for 15 seconds when you Void Blast them with the Operator. They will be out of commission. You could just sit there and wail on them. By the time the 15 seconds is up, hopefully that Necramech is dead. If it's not, you can just rinse and repeat and try to do it again. And let's see, what else is there that we have not shown? Oh, I can show like some AoE ad clear stuff. You can technically bring like a Zarr or something to like blow away the big centipede enemies and like whatever those things with the big shoulders are called. Not necessary, but technically it's something you could do, as Nekros doesn't really have any ad clear abilities built in. So we got the Zarr with the Toxin Roll here. This is like my build I just use on Wukong for AFK Steel Path, so could be potentially min-max a little bit more if you don't have a Riven. Just that should work. There you go. Toxin Clip, Infected Clip, whatever it's called. Really good stuff there. And we've also got an alternate weapon here with the Pestilent Procreator, which is going to be Sporelacer, Splat, and Haymaker kit gun, which comes from Deimos. Got a full build on the channel if you'd like to check it out. And yeah, just make sure you got Expel Infested if you want, because Infested are infested. Remember that viral procs do not work on the Deimos Infested, guys. So if you were trying to do this with a Panzer Cat, you're going to have a bad time, because a Panzer Cat's just going to basically be a loot vacuum, because they are immune to viral procs. So Count Kirby is going to be the way to go. Alright, so that is basically it for the video, guys. Like I said, if you have any suggestions for things that you like to use, I've tried a couple weapons out. So the Stropha is the one that I wanted to recommend because I put it in other videos, and I know it does work with no Riven. But I also tried the Redeemer Prime, which did not feel as good, to be honest. And tried the Vectis Prime, and I've also tried weapons like the Babonico and stuff like that. But you just basically, you want weapons that don't require a lot of setup as far as I'm concerned. I want a weapon that is just easy. I push one button, I get my big damage from the Stropha. I push one button, I get my heavy attack, big Redeemer Prime. The Redeemer Prime was okay, to be fair. But weapons like, I need galvanized stacks to get my Vectis to do so much damage. That's just not worth it to me. The Stropha works very well, and Nekros is the meta for this. So yeah, that's what we settled on. Hopefully you guys found this video helpful. These isolation vaults are actually potentially pretty profitable if you want to if you can stomach them. If you want to go under and do these missions that no one else does. No one else does these missions, so the market, there's a market opening, I'd say, for a lot of this stuff, like Aram Spinoza parts, these crappy arcanes people keep trying to tell me are good, things of that nature. People aren't farming this that much, so maybe that's an opening for you to make some more platinum, because they sure are a little bit annoying sometimes. So I'll see you guys next time. Really appreciate all the support lately, and I'll see you on the live stream channel later. Peace.